Hi all, this is Once and Future Gamer and welcome to another Pokemon Challenge. Last week was a run through Generation 4 as we sought to see if I could beat Pokemon Platinum with a single Murkrow. A run that wasn't without some surprising challenge in places. Today though, we begin Rodent month and start by making a return to Generation 2 Johto and answer the question of if I can beat Pokemon Silver with just a single Sandshrew. Now then, Sandshrew. We have a base stat total of 300 with our attack and defence both being absolutely fantastic for a first form Pokemon, making up well over half our total. Our special stats aren't so good though, and our HP and speed aren't much better, so some good, some bad. We're mono ground type, so we're weak to water, grass and ice. We're immune to electric and we resist both poison and rock. Via level up, we don't get much that's worth talking about. There's not much here. Slash and Swift are about the best of a very indifferent bunch. Sandstorm would be okay, but we don't get a special defence boost from it. Poison Sting is weak, Fury Swipes is trash accuracy and massively unreliable. Via TM, we get a little more. When we get to Goldenrod, we can get Dig, which will be useful. There's also Earthquake, but that's not until Victory Road. Rollout might be useful too. We also get Iron Tail and Fury Cutter, but I don't know how much use we'll get out of them, since the accuracy tends to be a bit of a letdown. Maybe we can get a good hidden power type that will use our physical stat. Maybe. Predictions. I don't see the first part of the game being that hard. I think we may have issues versus Chuck's Poliwrath and Claire's Kingdra. Possibly the Ice Gym could be rough, but it could go either way. The Ghost and Steel Gyms shouldn't be an issue for sure. The Elite Four may be harder, with Will and Karen, due to our low special defence. Plus, I think Lance might be able to overpower us unless we're quite over-levelled. Blue will probably be doable. Red, though, your guess is as good as mine. The rules. In combat, I can only use Sandshrew. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs, but unable to fight. I can only use held items and Pokeballs in battle, but healing is permitted outside of combat. And last of all, no glitches or exploits. If you do enjoy what you see, then like, subscribe and ring that bell. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Totodile with Sandshrew, so that I can do the whole run with it. I chose to replace Totodile so that the rival would have Meganium, which is probably, on the balance of play, going to be the hardest for us to fight. It might be a coin flip, but it is what it is. I nicknamed the Sandshrew Patch because of the pattern on its skin. There are no natures or abilities here, so let's go get started with the grinding ahead. We run to Mr. Pokemon's house and back to get the mysterious egg, and then, as we're charging back towards New Bark Town, we get attacked by the rival for the first time, and we throw down Desert Rat versus Herbal Dinosaur. That is a fight that many might not pay to see. But anyway, we are a bit stronger thanks to our training, and we start scratching away at our opponent. The Chikorita counters with tackles, but they don't do much thanks to our decent defence, and it's not too long before we can free hit the opponent to give us a win. I think the next one will be harder. Eventually, we get to Violet City and it's time for the fight in the gym versus Faulkner, who I actually fought in this week's episodes of Gold Universe, who has a much more drastically better team there than he uses here. I'll say that for nothing. Anyway, he begins with his supremely low-leveled Pidgey, the lowest level Pokemon any gym leader ever uses, and we hit it with 2 scratches to take it out, though it does counter us with a tackle that we do shrug off. Pidgeotto is next, and it is slightly more capable of hurting us with its gust attacks, and that takes me back to the Indigo League anime days of a Pidgeotto using gust, but we shrugged 2 of them off before we free hit Pidgeotto with Scratch. It's funny I mentioned the anime because, obviously, they've gotten rid of Ash now and I'm still emotionally numb at that decision. Through Union Cave and into Azalea Town I go, before kicking Team Rocket out of the Slowpoke well. I do teach Patch Mud Slap because it will be the best way to deal with the rival when we have to fight him. I won't be keeping it long term since we do get Dig and Earthquake later, but it will be good as a stopgap. This is not one of those runs where Mud Slap is about the only coverage I get, so yay on that! Anyway, we have got a fight with Bugsy next and his team of bugs. I think his Cypher might be an issue, but as long as we aren't poisoned going into it, we might be fine. We're pretty solid defensively. I did think ground resisted bug, but apparently not. Maybe I can try to poison Cypher for chip damage. Maybe. We'll see. I do lose, but it is close. So, Metapod is a free hit with Scratch, thanks to it using Harden, which is annoying. We do get a defense curl in here because I figure if we resist Cypher a little more, we will be laughing all the way to victory. However, we also get tagged with a string shot to lower our speed. I think we'd probably be slower than Cypher anyway though, so it's not the end of the world. Kakuna is also a free hit, going for Harden, but it probably would have been a free hit anyway, so it's not the end of the world. Kakuna does screw us though, as it lands one poison sting, and of course it poisons us. We go into Cypher and trade scratches with Fury Cutters to deal damage, but with the poison sapping away at us, that is what probably costs us the fight. We do deal a crit on Cypher at the end to the point where one more scratch would end it, but it does take us out with Fury Cutter. Ah dear. I'm going to put a few more levels on, then come back to it, just to give us a bit more damage output since we weren't doing too much to Cypher. The poison was unfortunate, but I believe we make our own luck, so I'll be back soon. Ooh, I do get Slash while training, so that should make things easier. Let's do this. Metapod is a 2-hit with Slash, surviving the first one on a Sliver, which is minorly annoying, but since it only goes for Harden, all is good. We don't have to worry about being poisoned since we crit Kakuna with a single Slash, which is about the only crit I wanted in this fight. I was right earlier, Cypher is faster even without us being string-shotted, but we shrug the Fury Cutter attacks off to slash at it. There's irony that we're outclawing something with literal scythes for arms when we've only got these stubby little claws, but hey, whatever. We eventually take it down to give us the second badge. We've got the rival fight before we leave town, and I am a little leery about what might happen, but I think we'll be fine. Okay, I'll say it though, Bayleaf is going to be absolutely rough, I can already tell. This actually goes really well though. We fling a Mud Slap at Ghastly, and considering we're nearly double its level, that understandably wrecks it hard. Out next is the threat of Bayleaf, and we go for a Slash, doing less than half. Eep, this can turn real bad real quick. Thankfully, it misses Poison Powder. We crit our next Slash, and we never have to face Razor Leaf. I'll take it. Zubat is also a 1-hit with Slash, and just like that, we can move on. Next is Goldenrod City, and as per usual, we've got the fight with the Satanic Cow ahead as the Miltank looms on the horizon. Patch is male, so we're going to have to watch out for Attract too, which I also consider minorly worrying. I think we should be able to fend off most of the more dangerous moves thanks to our defence, so I teach Patch Dig and prepare for the fight ahead. Dig turns out to be a good decision. We make our way into the fight and begin versus Clefairy. We are faster and bounce it off the ceiling with our Dig attack, having gone underground to avoid the double slap. The Demonic Bovine is next and is faster than us, landing a rollout. If I'd known it was going to go into rollout, I'd have gone for some slashers. We do more than half when we land the Dig, and amazingly, thankfully, miraculously, she goes for rollout again when Attract would probably have finished us. We go for Dig again and take down the Miltank for the third badge. Woo! I get to Ecruteak City and decide to fight the rival in the burned tower before I go into the Ghost Gym, since I'm sure we're going to get outsped by Gengar. So I want to be stronger ahead of Morty, just to make things that little smoother. Anyway, he begins with Haunter, which I consider a good barometer ahead of the Ghost Gym. We outspeed and drop that with Dig for a quick knockout as it tries and fails to curse us. That is a relief, but we have to deal with Bayleaf next. We slash at it for over half its health, but it goes for Reflect, which is quite annoying if I'm honest. We land another slash, but it doesn't KO, and we have to take a Razor Leaf, which A, thankfully doesn't crit, and B, actually does less damage than I thought it would. A third slash drops it. Zubat is his next Pokemon, and it survives Slash thanks to Reflect being up before landing Supersonic to confuse us. We fight through and drop it with another Slash, and the Reflect goes down as Magnemite comes out. We are still confused though, and I don't want to risk Dig, so I go for Mud Slap, and we take it out in one hit to give us the win. Ghost Gym then, and let's see how we do here. What Morty lacks in variety in his team, he makes up for with being tricky, utilising moves like Spite and Curse, so it's worth remembering that this can go wrong very quickly. Plus, I still think we're not going to outspeed Gengar. That's my concern, and I think it's valid. It turns out to be absolutely 100% valid. We begin versus Ghastly and take it out with a single Mud Slap, which I was expecting. However, he sends Gengar out next, and it outspeeds us, as I predicted, landing Hypnosis. That is unlucky, since Hypnosis is trash accuracy. We don't wake up during the rest of the fight, and we get 2 hit with Dream Eater, the second one being a crit. I'm going to try this again because I think if we get a dig in on Gengar, we are going to win for sure, because I do not think it survives that move. But we've got to land the attack first. Let's make a few attempts and see what happens. This plays out very differently the next attempt, as we Mud Slap the Ghastly down for the first knockout. And this time, he goes for the Haunters to come out next instead, which is weird. Very screwy AI, I guess. Maybe. Neither of those Haunter is particularly capable of standing up to us as we take them down with our dig attacks. I'd say it looks like we are faster than both of them, but by the way, since we're holding the Quick Claw, I will say, it's difficult to entirely be sure. What isn't up for debate is that the Quick Claw activates versus Gengar and lets us go under the ground, as Gengar fails with Hypnosis twice as a result. Haha! Take that, Spooky! And we land our dig to end it as a threat and give us the 4th badge. And with that, we have opened the region up. We travel across the land now, searching far and wide, and I've got a few choices of gym. I can go fighting, ice or steel. And if I'm honest, I kind of feel like the steel gym is the best bet going forward, because we're going to absolutely wreck that gym. The other two could be touch and go, since we are weak to ice, and as I mentioned earlier, Chuck's Poliwrath will probably screw us up with Surf. So, before anything else, I have to go traverse the lighthouse to go and see Jasmine. I do have to go to Cianwood City to get the medicine, and I decide to make a try on Chuck and see how we actually do. I mean, we might get lucky and not get messed up by Surf. Some of the opponent move choices have actually been pretty strange so far. What is the absolute worst that can happen, huh? Primeape is first and survives R/slash on red health, which isn't entirely great. It fails with Leer, and we take it out on the next turn with Slash for the knockout. Right, here comes the oversized tadpole. Poliwrath takes less than half from Slash and then hits us with a Surf. That does well over half our health. So, if we take another hit, we are going down. I go for Dig on the next turn. The Surf obviously misses, and we drop it with that Dig to give us the 5th badge. Go on, Patch lad. I get back to Olivine City and go for the fight with Jasmine after stopping Amphi from dropping dead at the top of the tower, and I'm really not concerned about this fight in the slightest. Magnemite probably won't be able to do much to us. Steelix will probably be harder to take out, but only slightly. I give the two Magnemite the respect that they deserve. It would be all too easy to just go for Mud Slap and hope for the best, but if that doesn't knock them out, then things can go wrong very quickly, since one of them tries to use Supersonic and the other one tries to use Sonic Boom. So if we had been hit by at least one of those moves, things could potentially have gone very wrong very quickly, so far better not to take chances. Steelix is definitely harder. It takes less than half its health in damage when we land the dig, and I tried to get cheeky by landing a mud slap to put it under the half health mark. I'll tell you this much though, the Iron Tail attacks, they hurt a lot. It lands 2 of them in a row, suspicious, and they eat massive chunks out of our health. I do not know if we would have survived a third one, and our situation isn't helped when Jasmine heals her Iron Snake. We land 2 digs on it without reply to put it on red health, but then it has a chance at a free hit at us, but thankfully chooses to go for Screech, which misses, and we can put Steelix down with a mud slap. 6 badgers down! The Team Rocket hideout is next and the stuff at the Lake of Rage, but when that's out of the way, it's time for the Ice Gym. That'd be the next logical thing to do, but I'm going to check and see what sort of hidden power we get, because at the moment we've got normal type moves and we've got ground moves, which kind of locks me into a bit of a corner, potentially. I'm glad there's no Skarmory in any major upcoming fights. I mean, I could use the rollout TM. Why aren't I using the rollout TM is a question I'm asking myself now. Our hidden power, when I check it, is super effective on a Pidgeotto, so it's either rock, ice or electric. Trust me, I'm well familiar with that after last month, what hurts normal and flying types. I want to see if I can find a Venonat to see if the move is rock type, because that's pretty inconclusive as to the specifics. A fight with a Venonat concludes that our hidden power is not the rock type because it only deals neutral damage. But you know what will tell me? The fight with the red Gyarados, because if it is electric type, it will be super effective, and ice will only be neutral. Okay, we discover our hidden power is the electric type. How about that? That could be useful going forward. I'll keep it. I mean, we do have to fight at least 2 more Gyarados, so it's definitely going to be useful. Okay, Ice Gym then. Let's battle through and see what we can do versus Price. Since there is a lot of water and ice moves on display, this could get messy, but I have a plan and we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Both Piloswine and Dugong always feel kind of bulky, so I don't think we'll one-hit either of them. Definitely not Piloswine. Dugong, maybe if I can build rollouts up. Seal takes less than half its health in damage from rollout, which is fine, it's a good start. We get hit with an Icy Wind and then rollout misses. Thank you, 90 accuracy move. An Aurora Beam comes our way, which doesn't help, but then we crit a rollout to start the sequence again and take Seal out. Dugong is next, and our second rollout, one hits that for a swift knockout before Piloswine is out third. It survives our third rollout on red health, hits a Blizzard that we survive because Piloswine is not a special attacker, and then Price heals it before rollout 4 drops it for a victory. 7 badges in, let's go do story stuff now. The Radio Tower arc is next, and we've got to go and fight a stack of Team Rocket grunts in order to basically do what the police and the army were unwilling to do for some reason. I don't know why people in Johto pay their taxes. I know they kind of had hostages, but still, we breached the building, so obviously they weren't going to start executing them. That'd be a very differently tonal Pokemon game for sure. Can you imagine an iteration of Kanto where Giovanni throws the president of Sylph off the top of the building? Actually, that sounds like the manga. So while we're doing this, let's talk about what's ongoing with the channel. So, in the week just gone, there were updates for all the usual suspects. We had episode 5 of Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm starting to build up steam with that particular game. Still loving it. There was episode 5 of the Resident Evil 2 remake playthrough, and I've actually finished recording the Leon A playthrough of that with intent to do the B scenario in the future. There were episodes 31 and 32 of Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, and I also finished recording the playthrough of that as well. Loved the story, hated the combat. That's my 6-word review of that, and I will stick to it to the death if I have to. Obviously, I hope it doesn't come to that. I might be over-exaggerating the importance of my own opinion right there, if I'm honest. There were also episodes 12 and 13 of Pokemon Gold Univert 2. I did start playing and recording new Pokemon Snap again, but I'm not sure how often and when that'll be uploaded. but there's a danger of that being a repeat of the problem I had last time. I'm sure, no doubt, I'll have started playing Resident Evil 4 Remake by this point, but at the time of writing this, it was currently uploading to my Steam, so thoughts in the outro, I guess. Let's talk about Rodent Month. So, shrews, rabbits, rats, squirrels, chinchillas. That might give you a hint as to what I have lined up for the month. Obviously, right here, we are going at Pokemon Silver with the single Sandshrew. Next week is a game I've not done for a really long time, and I'm going to see if I can beat Pokemon Heart Gold with just a single Baneri. I feel like that one is going to be really tough because HGSS are tough games to solo. I did it once, but I was using Regigigas under limited circumstances. Only a few weeks back, we saw a failed effort to beat it with a single Ledyba from MDB, so I'm going to see how the rabbit does. More on the rest of the month as it unfolds. You can't see it, but I'm doing jazz hands now. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comment section down below or follow the link in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Always interested to see what you're coming up with, be it for a single challenge or for a themed month. Also, there is a link to my Patreon down there, but if you're unable or unwilling to contribute, the fact you're here and watching is enough. If you know someone who might like this content, tell them about it and help the channel grow. Back to the regular content now. We have to fight the rival in the Goldenrod Underground next, which is never really a hard fight if you're set up right. I mean, one day I might give my opinion on the top 10 hardest fights in single Pokemon challenges, but this isn't one of them. That might be something for me to bring up in challenge number 100. Meh, we'll see. This goes, well, I'm exceptionally lucky, put it that way. Golbat is first and it is a problem. It survives our slash on a sliver and lands Confuse Ray, which is a massive uh-oh because we hit ourselves in confusion a bunch of times, as well as getting tagged with some bites from the oversized bat. That is definitely not a good thing. We do eventually shoot it down with a hidden power, but we are still confused going into Meganium, hitting ourselves again and getting sliced by a Razor Leaf that puts us on red health. Yeah, it's going well, huh? What was I saying about this fight not being hard? We hit a slash, which Meganium survives, and then luckily it misses Razor Leaf, and we drop it with another slash to send us on the offensive. Sneasel is third, and I take it out with Dig, which gives us a one-hit win. It is good that it wasn't faster because I don't think we survived the feint attack it throws at us. Magnemite also goes down to Dig. Interesting that he went for that fourth rather than Haunter, but oh well. Said Haunter is out last and also goes down to Dig, giving us a victory that we possibly didn't deserve. We've not got much more now until the Dragon Gym, and I have doubts over how well we'll do here. I think we are going to have similar problems with Kingdra to what we potentially had with Chuck's Poliwrath, i.e. getting hit with Surf. I think we will be able to two-hit the Water Dragon. It's just a case of what happens around those two hits, particularly if we are looking rough from fighting the Dragonair. Only one way to find out. So, food for thought. We take out the first Dragonair with a Dig attack, and while we're underground, it misses a Surf that would probably have hurt. That's one down. We take out the second Dragonair with another Dig, and that one misses Ice Beam, and that would also have hurt. Kingdra then. We strike it with a Dig, and it lands a Smokescreen at the second attempt when we hit it for slightly over half. With our accuracy lowered, I decide to try and hit the opponent with Slash. We miss two of those Slash attacks in a row, and we then get dropped by two Surf attacks. Oh dear. I decide to train just a bit more because things are only going to get harder from here before coming back to go again. The first effort goes badly when we get crit with Kingdra's Surf, which is never helpful. Especially, it going for that move first would have set us on a path to victory. On the second attempt at level 60 though, we take out the first two Dragonair in the fashion of which we've become accustomed to, striking them each with a Dig to set us on our way to victory. It is nice that they're not really a threat, because if we had to go into Kingdra weakened, that would have been unpleasant. While we are underground, Kingdra misses Surf but rather cheekily blasts us with Smokescreen when we do come out of the ground before Claire heals it. We do land a crit slash that leaves the Kingdra on red health, and then we survive a Surf, managing to land the final slash that will knock it out, and I am relieved. We've still got one final Dragonair to deal with, and I hit that with a slash to give us a victory. And once we've done her nonsense in the Dragon's Den, we're on the road to the Pokemon League. My next stop is Kanto, and making my way to the Indigo Plateau. I get the Earthquake TM in Victory Road to replace Dig, and it's not too long after that we have to fight our rival. Meganium aside, I can't see this being too bad, but it depends what the flowery dinosaur does to us. Up first is Sneasel, and I hit that with our new Earthquake move to one-hit knockout it. Woo whoop! Next is Meganium, and our slash does well over half before it goes for the dirty tactic of using Reflect. It survives our next slash as a result, and then hits Razor Leaf, which doesn't do much damage, and we take it out with a third slash. That's justice. Golbat goes down to a crit hidden power, which is better than I expected, before Kadabra is fourth, and we smash into that with an Earthquake for a win in that round. Next is Magneton, and we Earthquake that down as the Reflect fades, before Haunter is last, and once again, Earthquake gives us the knockout and declares us the winner! As I stand here in the Pokemon League, here are our stats at level 64. Attack and defence are both pretty good for what we are. Special defence and special attack are a bit meh, but the speed isn't too much to complain about. At least it did hit 3 digits. I'm not complaining about that special defence though, because last week we were 20 levels higher and just about had that much special defence going into the league. Take your guesses on if I can do it at this level or not right now, folks. Up first we have Psychic Trainer Will, and I am a little worried by this one since he has an Executor and a Slowbro that I think we might struggle to damage. But I guess all we can do is see how this first attempt goes and take it from there. I have an inkling of a strategy, so let's go do this. Okay, that strategy comes crashing down around my ears before it even has the chance to get going. I was planning to use Rollout to power up and Steamroller through Executor and Slowbro. Xatu number 1 survives it and lands Confuse Ray. I call that Pokemon a word I really can't repeat on the channel, and we hit ourselves twice in Confusion, as well as being hit with Psychic. We do eventually drop it, but the damage is done as Jinx comes in next. I try setting up another rollout sequence, but Jinx survives rollout 1 on red health and drops us with Ice Punch. Training then, I'm not ready. I train up to level 70 and then come back to face Will once again. I can see him being one of the hardest in this sequence of events, the truth be told, because of those aforementioned threats. This time, when I go into rollout on him, Xatu survives rollout 1 and hits Psychic, which does lower our special defence, but we shrug it off otherwise. Rollout 2 takes it down. Jinx is next and goes down to rollout 3 in a single hit, before Executor comes in to face rollout 4 and we go straight over it to take it down. Next is Slowbro and rollout 5 one hits that, which is what I was trying to do in the previous attempt. Xatu number 2 is last and we take that out with a crit slash for the win. Next is Koga, and I have a feeling rollout might be getting used once again, given that it is super effective against 3 of his Pokemon. I'm not too worried about this fight, but as always, it's worth remembering that there is the capacity for it all to go so wrong. First is Ariados, and it survives our return on a Sliver before going for double team. On rollout 2 though, we hit the right opponent though, and finish it off. Rollout 3 is enough to end Venom off. I'd be worried if it wasn't though, before Fortress protects to block rollout 4. What a dick. We go back into rollout, free hitting Fortress while it throws up spikes on the battlefield to damage anyone switching into the fight. Good luck with that one, and a swift attack. Crobat is faster than Patch and goes to double team. Our rollout missing because of course, before landing a Toxic on us, which puts us onto a timer. We also get hit with a wing attack, but we mercifully manage to end Crobat with 2 slash attacks. Last is Muck, and we smash into that with Earthquake to give us a win. 2 down. Bruno next, and this one shouldn't be an issue because is he ever? Well, there have been a few Bruno fights where he has been a problem, but rarely in Johto, I will say that. If I have had issues, it tends to be in Fire Red. The one versus him next week might be anything but easy though. Anyway, he starts with Hitmontop, and we down that with a single Earthquake. Boom! 1 down. Next is Hitmonchan, and no doubt he's going to try and Ice Punch us, but we take it down with Earthquake. Next is Hitmonlee, and that gets dropped with a crit Earthquake. Machamp is 4th, and I know he likes to heal this one, so I go for Slash to do a bit over half. We get tagged with a Cross Chop, then finish that with a probably unnecessary crit Slash, before Onyx, at the end, goes down to Earthquake. 3 down. Karen is 4th, and she is usually the hardest. I think we might be able to brute force her Umbreon at the start, and that is usually the biggest issue on her team, since it's massively bulky and likes to spam Sand Attack, which, as we've seen, lowered accuracy is an issue. Anyway, this actually went really well. I decide to Earthquake Umbreon and see what it does about it in retaliation. Not a lot as it turns out, as we one-hit it. Wow, that's impressive. Vileplume is next, and I repeat the tactic, using Earthquake to take it out. Our hidden power crits on Murkrow to down it, which was pretty vital. I've not used the move much, but it has come in clutch when needed. We land Earthquake on Gengar to finish that off before Houndoom is last, and once again we land Earthquake to take it out. That's the Elite Four done, and just the champion remains. So, we'll have to see with Lance. I feel like I may need some fortune, but we've got all the tools needed to beat him down. Earthquake will be useless here, so that's worth remembering, but between our 3 other moves, I think we can do this. Let's go and find out. Oh my, this is so close, and such a painful ending. So, he begins with Gyarados, and we go into Rollout. We 2-hit the giant sea serpent with Rollout, while it goes for Rain Dance, which is handy because it actually attacking might have been a better option for it. Dragonite 1, Blizzard Dragonite I'd wager, goes down to Rollout 3. Dragonite 2, Thunder Dragonite maybe, goes down to Rollout 4. Aerodactyl is faster and hits a crit wing attack, but goes down to Rollout 5. Charizard is next as the rain stops, but we one-hit that with Rollout 1, thanks to it being quad weak to Rock. And versus Dragonite 3, things go wrong, as we miss Rollout twice in a row. I thought it was going too well. We do less than half its health with Slash, and then get 3 hit with Outrage. Oh, drat. I think we can totally do it at that level though, so let's go again. This time goes a little differently, but in essence there are a lot of similarities too. First is Gyarados, and we smash it with Rollout 1, but it hits Surf instead for some decent damage. Rollout 2 misses, but it goes for Rain Dance instead, so we restart our Rollout sequence to drop it with a Rollout 1. Dragonite number 1 comes out, survives Rollout 2, misses Blizzard thanks to the rain no doubt, and then goes down to Rollout 3. Dragonite number 3 comes out and goes down to Rollout 4, a lot of numbers here I know, before Aerodactyl hits Ancient Power for little damage and goes down to Rollout 5. Charizard goes down to Rollout 1 once again, before Dragonite number 3 comes out once again. It survives Rollout number 2, and then, rather than attacking, it goes for Safeguard. What an idiot, and then we drop it with Rollout 3, which crits so unnecessary, but that takes Dragonite out, that gives us the win, and just like that, we beat Lance, we've taken the champion title off him, and we can go and enter the Hall of Fame to give us the sense of pure satisfaction that we've done everything we could, and the credits roll. Of course, this is Gen 2, and this isn't over, as we have to head to Kanto next. Next week I'm doing Heart Gold, and I'm not sure if we'll do the post game or not. It does depend on time constraints, but we will definitely see. Last time I did the Gen 4 Johto, I didn't head to Kanto for that very reason, but we'll see. Most of Kanto in this game is easy. The only thing we really need to talk about are blue and red. We'll see how we do versus the former before we worry about the latter. Up first is Blue's Pidgeot, and I go into Rollout, smacking it with Rollout 1 to do just over half its health before we get counter hit with Wing Attack. We brush that off and smash into it with the second Rollout to end it. The reason I'm building up Rollouts is important because Gyarados is next, and we take that out with Rollout 3 before Executor is next, and it is the last of his dangerous opponents for us. We crash into that with Rollout 4 to take it down. Alakazam is hit with Rollout 5 to take that down, and we're nearly there. Arcanine is next, and we slam into that with Earthquake for a swift victory, while last is Rhydon, and that also goes down to Earthquake, and just like that we've gotten the last badge. There is one final fight versus Red, and I have no idea how this one is going to go. Venusaur and Blastoise are going to be massive issues, so that's my concern. I'm going to make a try and see where we stand, but I doubt I'm going to be able to do it at this level. Our first attempt goes so very badly. We are slower than Pikachu, and so we immediately get hit with Charm, which probably ends this fight as a contest because our attack being lowered by that much means we're going to struggle to knock stuff out. We can still one-hit Pikachu with Earthquake, but Venusaur takes about a third from Earthquake, so without the attack loss, we probably two-hit that. We are faster than Venusaur, which is great, but we get one hit from full health with Solar Beam, so yeah, that Charm is an issue. I'm going to make a few tries and see if we can get a run where Pikachu misses Charm, because that can happen. And if it does, then that puts us in an incredibly better position than we would be if it lands the move, because if Charm connects, we do not win. And even if we go higher level, I'm not sure we'll be able to outspeed Pikachu or not. Okay, so on my very second attempt, this next run happens, and it's almost unbelievable. Pikachu goes to the quick attack, not Charm, and we drop that hard with Earthquake. That's obstacle number 1 out of the way. Next is Venusaur, who is a 2-hit with Earthquake, only trying to charge up Solar Beam in exchange, and that doesn't do it a whole lot of good, so it goes down. Third is Blastoise, who is also a 2-hit with Earthquake, but it only goes to Rain Dance, which is massive because a water attack would really hurt. Espeon is faster and hits Psychic, but we one-hit that with Earthquake, and at least we start to recover health. 4 down. Snorlax is a 2-hit with Earthquake, only going for Amnesia, which is great because it wasted a turn, it could have caused damage on us. And then finally is Charizard, and this is where it goes wrong, as it outspeeds and hits a Flamethrower for massive damage. Then it survives our Rollout 1 to finish us with another Flamethrower. Oh no, so close! Levelling up time then, because I reckon if we get a few more, we should be fine. I need to be able to outspeed either Charizard or Espeon, and I reckon the former might be more likely, though perhaps not by much. Either way, we can only do what we can do. I grind up to level 95 and then see if we can do this at this level. We'll have to see if it makes a difference or not. It takes a few attempts, but eventually we do get a run where we have success. Pikachu goes down to Earthquake, which is consistent once we can outspeed it. Venusaur loses most of its health to Earthquake. It survives, then tries to charge up Solar Beam, and then we drop that with Slash. Blastoise is a crit knockout with Earthquake this time, so we don't have to worry about being hit with Surf, as happened in one effort. Espeon goes for Reflect, which is irritating, as it means it survives Earthquake. It hits Psychic for about 100 points of damage, and then we finish that with another Earthquake. Then it's Snorlax. An Earthquake does about a third of its health thanks to Reflect, and so we hit 2 of them while also getting clocked with Body Slam attacks. Thankfully, there is no paralysis because that would have ended this run for sure. We hit 2 Earthquakes and then I decide to go into Rollout because I'm all too aware of the Charizard at the end, which we are actually faster than now, BT dubs. We hit 1 Rollout, then Snorlax decides to use Rest, but it's by about this point that the Reflect goes down. And although Snorlax does keep snoring at us to do meagre damage, we can land 3 more turns of rollout to finally drop it, though it was close that the rollout 3 nearly did for it, leaving it on red health. Charizard then comes out and rollout 5 smashes straight into it, taking it out and giving us the victory over red, meaning that the challenge is complete and all is good in the world as, once again, the credits roll. Well, that was interesting. Highly enjoyable for sure. Sandshrew is something I don't think has a bad design, so it's fun to use it in a challenge. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you do, please drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already done so. It is so good for the YouTube algorithms. As always, if you have any ideas for future challenges, head to the comments or follow the links in the description to my Twitter or my Discord. Join me again next time as we stay in Johto for a run at Pokemon Heart Gold with a single Bunny. I'd say that this is a nice warm-up for it, but I don't think it's adequate prep in the slightest. We will have to see for sure. Outro time and not much to say. I'm writing this on the same day that the Platinum with Murkrow challenge goes live, so I can't really say too much about things. I started recording this challenge at slightly after midnight on the 24th of March because, as I said earlier, I was downloading RE4 Remake while doing it. That was the whole idea behind it all. It's now the Saturday before midday, time of writing, so I really tore into this challenge. I'm not used to being this organised, and that answers the question, by the way, as to why I didn't use Return in this challenge, because I didn't want to hack the day of the week. A stab earthquake solves a lot of problems, it would appear. Yeah, I'll have been back at work for a week come this point, so I'll probably be settling back in at this time. Just not much more to say beyond the quick note of I am loving Resident Evil 4 Remake. I am recording a playthrough for the channel, though I do not know when I'll start uploading it. Maybe I'll finish uploading RE2 Remake first. Maybe I'll pause the uploads for that for the time being. I'm undecided. With that in mind, I'm going to jump off here. Thanks for joining me. As always, folks, this has been Once and Future Gamer, and this has been Pokemon Silver with a single Sandshrew. Take care, folks. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye now. So long.